My name is Amy Souza, and this is the public record of my dissent. I have stood up in front of the White House against Biden's executive order. I have stood up at the UN against their policies that erase women in language and law. I stood up at the NCAA championships against Liar Thomas. I stood up in New York City with my sisters for Let Women Speak, and I am standing here today to support the women who go to Lynnwood Olympus Spa. Women do not consent to men in our intimate spaces. And when I say woman, I mean adult human female. And when I say man, I mean adult human male. Women demand respect around our bodies and boundaries around our bodies. We reject men in our spaces based on the immutable characteristic of sex, regardless of the self-ascribed abstract identity labels that these men use. Further, women claim the right to define ourselves as wholly unique from men. We reject that we are disembodied, objectified, abstract identity concepts that anyone of any sex can claim. We are fully embodied, whole human beings. We do not consent to female erasure. We do not consent to the redefinition of the only language that we have to describe our uniquely female experiences. We are wholly unique beings from men with our own physical and political needs. This is an issue of sexism. Previously, our foremothers fought for provisions in language and law and common practice that protected us based on the immutable characteristic of sex. It was universally recognized that women and men have different bodies with different needs. Both sexes deserve privacy, modesty, and integrity in the spaces where we are in states of undress. The nouveau concept of gender identity is inherently sexist and dehumanizing. There are thousands and thousands of made-up, abstract, conceptual identity labels with more and more being imagined into being every day. There is no good reason to segregate spaces or sports based on abstract identity labels. There are 4 billion women on the planet. We do not share a common identity. We are not women because we identify that way. We are women because it is the what of what we are physically experiencing. We are as much physically women as we are physically animals, mammals, primates, humans. We are women. The only thing that we have in common is this developmental path. And the word woman is the only word that describes the uniqueness of that path. All other kinds of plants and animals have words for their adult members. All other kinds of plants and animals have words for their female members. The only word that exists to describe an adult human female is the word woman. And the word woman is taken. We claim it for ourselves and for our daughters. We refuse to share it with men, just as we refuse to share our intimate spaces with men. Policies that push the value of, quote, inclusivity are in fact policies of boundary violation. Women demand boundaries, and boundaries are necessarily children used to be protected from indecent exposure. In fact, Washington State still has indecent exposure laws on their books. It states that indecent exposure is an incident that is intentional exposure of genitals knowing that such conduct is likely to cause reasonable affront or alarm. While I am alarmed, I am affronted. I do not consent. Women do not consent. Any man who violates the boundaries that women and girls have around our bodies, he has self-identified as an abuser and a criminal. Ourselves and our daughters deserve to be protected from men's indecent exposure. As activist Joy Gray says, no men in women's spaces, no exceptions, no apologies. Women do